You might know executive dysfunction as that thing that makes it really impossible to get stuff done, to start stuff, to finish stuff, to just be productive the way that you want to be. And while the truth is there's actually a lot more to executive dysfunction, task initiation issues are a huge part of it. That's why I created my signature small group coaching program, Neurodivergent Magic, to help you get shit done in 24 hours or less. Hi, my name is Megan, and welcome to Neurodivergent Magic, the YouTube channel for accessible and relatable neurodivergent content. Today's YouTube video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a lot more conversational, a little less edited, and it's just going to be me telling you about my Neurodivergent Magic small group coaching program because I think there's a lot of people out there who watch my videos who need this program. Now, of course, I think you need it. It's my program, but my job today in this video is to explain to you why I love this program so much, why I created it, how it came together, and what it can really do. So it all starts about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was pregnant, I was freelancing and working from home, and I was writing a blog for fun. Now, listing off all of those things that I was doing, taking care of the house, writing my articles, both for myself and for my work, taking care of myself, all this stuff, sounds like I probably had it together, right? I had a baby on the way. I was going to be a mom. The time to be irresponsible or lazy or all of the things that we associate with executive dysfunction, that was over. Except it wasn't. My executive dysfunction was at its absolute worst during this time. All I had to do was wake up in the morning, get ready for the day, and write some stuff. And maybe do a load or two of laundry or load the dishes. It felt like there was practically nothing on my plate and I still wasn't able to keep up with it. I would wake up in the morning and I would just lie in bed, waiting for the motivation to come to get me out of it. I would stare at my computer screen and just nothing would happen. No writing for pleasure or for work. I wasn't necessarily depressed, I just wasn't able to do anything for some reason. And this was probably the first time in my life that I was experiencing executive dysfunction outside of depression. And it made me feel so lazy and so horrible because at least when I was depressed, I knew I was just so painfully sad. Everything inside me ached, and that felt like a good enough excuse to do nothing with my day. But 2 years ago, I wasn't depressed. I was actually pretty happy, which meant every second I spent not doing the things I was supposed to be doing felt like I was wasting time intentionally, like I was just being this horrible, lazy person I didn't want to be. Well, nowadays, I'm a mom, I run a successful business, and I work from home and keep the house up. Things have definitely changed, and you might be wondering how. I mean, I would be wondering how. Actually, for a while there, I was wondering how. I looked around at my life and I had no idea how I got to this place. What had changed? How had I turned things around literally so completely? So I took a step back and I really looked at my life and what was different? What was I doing differently? How was I being a different person? And what was motivating me to do it in a way that I wasn't motivated before? You want to know the biggest difference? I knew I was neurodivergent. Once I learned that term and accepted it as part of my identity, everything changed. I say this all the time to my clients, and I'm going to say it to you now, but self-loathing takes up a lot of time and energy. And before I knew I was neurodivergent, before I knew that I was autistic, I wasted so much time and energy hating myself. And that took away from the time and energy I could be spending on writing, on taking care of the house, on being the person I wanted to be. People tell me all the time, self-love is great, but it's not going to get my laundry done, Megan. And I have to disagree with those people because when I learned that who I was as a person wasn't bad, everything changed. Obviously, on an emotional level, it just feels better to not think you're a garbage human, obviously. But even on a practical level, you just get so much more done. It's easier to be productive. That executive dysfunction quiets down a little bit when you know who you are and you're okay with it. Now, this is not easy to do as a neurodivergent person in a neurotypical world. We aren't taught how to work with our brains. We are simply taught to pretend our brains don't work the way that they do. We often aren't even taught what makes our brains different. It's all just sort of kept hush-hush, like, oh, well, you are autistic, but it's not that big of a deal. Just like, don't think about it. If you don't think about it, if you don't focus on it, then all those differences will just go away. And I hate that. I've always hated that sense that there was something wrong with me and no one was willing to say what it was out loud. And so we all just sort of tiptoed around it and just knew Megan was a little sensitive and a little weird. And we never put a name to what it was or why I felt so different and alone. But now I have a name. I'm autistic and neurodivergent, and these things make my life make sense. And knowing those words and accepting them into my identity, it doesn't make executive dysfunction just go away, but it helps more than you might think. So that's why the first pillar of my Neurodivergent Magic program is emotional intelligence. Because that's the first thing that changed for me. And that's the first thing I want to help you change as well. The program is 9 weeks long, and the first week is sort of a welcome week, but the next 4 weeks are all focused on emotional intelligence. They're focused on recognizing the impact your neurodivergence has had on you, recognizing that impact even if you have been taught to ignore it your entire life. What's the second pillar, you ask? It is practical skills. Because here's the thing about me. I love thinking about my feelings. And I love having breakthroughs and epiphanies and realizations, but I don't exactly change my behavior very well. I might know everything there is to know about being me, but I don't do anything about it a lot of the time, and I end up getting stuck in this horrible cycle of self-awareness. And I realized that just wasn't going to cut it for my executive dysfunction. It was good to know I was autistic. It was good to know about neurodivergence, but it wasn't totally enough. So that's why I started implementing some practical skills as well. And that's what we learn in the second half of the Neurodivergent Magic program. There's a welcome week, there's 4 weeks of emotional intelligence, and then there's 3 weeks of very practical skills where we learn how to harness the natural qualities of your brain instead of constantly fighting against it, trying to pretend to be neurotypical when you're just not. Finally, the last pillar of the program is community. Because doing this alone is really hard. I did it mostly by myself, and it took me 2 years. And I would say that I am still on an executive dysfunction journey and learning more and doing more. I think when you learn with other people, alongside other people who get it and can support you and can be cheerleaders for you, I think the process goes a lot faster. And that's why the Neurodivergent Magic program is 9 weeks long and not 2 years. I love this program. I've run it 2 times before, and I have seen that it gets people the same results that this process got for me. We had one person who had been putting off making bracelets for a craft fair for months at this point, and she came to coaching and she was like, Megan, help me. Help me because these are due soon and I'm starting to freak out a little bit. And we coached on it and we figured out some of the underlying feelings that were getting in her way. And yes, feelings can get in your way. Feelings are a huge part of executive dysfunction. And so we parsed through those and supported her through that. And people in the community supported her through that. And I'm not even kidding you when I say the next day, she was working on those bracelets. So when I say I can help you get shit done in 24 hours or less, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not pulling a fast one on you. I am telling you I have figured this out and I want to help. If the program sounds right for you, or if you have questions about it, please just go to the description. I've got all kinds of links. I've got a link to a free call you can set up with me where we can just chat one-on-one on Zoom and figure out if the program's a good fit for you. I will be straight with you. because it's not perfect for everybody. For instance, I would not recommend this program to someone who's in the throes of a really deep depression. I think therapy is the better option for people who are in that position. But let's say your depression is mild, or maybe it's like not really a problem for you right now. Then I would say, let's do this. Let's focus on the executive dysfunction while we've got some of that energy and momentum going. Or let's say that you just want to learn more about the program. You would prefer to see it in a written format instead of verbally announced to you. You can also check out the informational page in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I sincerely hope to see you in the Neurodivergent Magic group coaching program.